Hello everybody, it is LB 3 Man and I am back again with another Bengals draft profile video. This time I am doing Ohio University defensive end Tarell Basham. He is a player I believe is a part of the second tier of defensive ends in the 2017 NFL draft and someone the Bengals could target in the second or third round. Alright, first off let's take a look at Basham's 2016 stats. In 2016 Basham had 28 solo tackles and 21 assisted tackles for 49 total tackles. He had 14.5 tackles for loss and 9 sacks. Both are solid numbers, although you would have hoped for more disruption playing against inferior competition. Now let's move on and look at Basham's strengths and weaknesses. One of the things that you love about Basham when you are watching him is how much effort he puts in. He never stops trying, always puts in a ton of effort. This leads to a lot of effort sacks. He can easily wear down offensive tackles throughout a game, which can lead to him having a greater impact at the end of a game. His good motor indicates his good football character and his drive to always improve, which is good for his prospect in the pros. One of the reasons I believe the Bengals may take Basham over the other defensive ends available in the second or third round is because of his length. Basham may not be 6'6" plus like the Bengals seem to like, but he has excellent length with his long arms. He may be someone the Bengals have their eyes on. He has good height and weight for a 4'3" defensive end and can be an instant impact defender for the Bengals. He may need to learn technique and work on playing against pro-caliber offensive tackles, but he already has the size that so many teams covet out of their defensive ends, which certainly includes the Bengals. Basham is better at naturally incorporating counter moves into his game than most college defenders. He's extremely good at confusing the offensive tackles with his moves and can frustrate them at times. He isn't a natural threat at winning on the edge, so having a good counter move is important. His primary way of winning is with a relentless bull rush, but his spin move and other counter moves allow him to quickly get inside of the offensive tackle and threaten the quarterback. This leads to most of his sacks that weren't simply effort sacks. He needs to work on his timing a bit and needs to incorporate them in with his bull rush more often. Basham had good production at OU, although he never did break double-digit sacks. What is encouraging though is that he got better every year at OU, culminating in his senior year where he had 9 sacks and overall had a very solid season, putting him on many teams' radars. The hope is that he can continue to improve once he gets to the pros. As much as it would be nice to see someone just relentlessly get after the quarterback, Basham needs to work on his gap integrity. He has a big problem with over-pursuing. He will often leave his lane, allowing the quarterback to break loose or the running back to run right by him. With his size, he should be better against the run than he is, but he too often allows himself to be pushed out of his gap by the opposing offensive tackles. Basham is not a natural edge rusher, and he doesn't have great bend in his hips. He is stiff trying to get the edge, and he doesn't have great flex in his hips. I have concerns about him trying to win outside the shoulder of the offensive tackle. He has a good bull rush, but he isn't going to get by an offensive tackle very much on the outside. Basham has a bad habit that Derek Rivers also had in that he ducks his head a lot. This can lead him to being able to be pushed out of plays by any decent offensive tackle. He needs to work on fixing that habit when he gets to the pros, as it is one that can be easily exploited by pro-level offensive tackles. It also makes him miss out on plays sometimes that he should have had an impact on, as he wasn't keeping his eyes up and on the impact players. Basham played at Ohio University in the MAC conference. Against such weak competition as a player being considered as draftable, he should have looked completely dominant. However, he didn't look as dominant as you would expect from someone that you were considering drafting. He would show flashes of taking over games, but then disappear for a bit, which is something that is concerning to me. Basham did not test as well as you would have wanted. He had a really good 40-yard dash time, but that I find isn't that important when evaluating defensive ends. He had a slightly below average 3-cone time, which makes sense with what we talked about with him struggling taking the edge. His explosiveness is confusing to me, with good results in the 20-yard shuttle and broad jump, but a very poor vertical jump. Overall, he had a decent but not great combine performance. Alright, now let's get down to the tape. In this first play, you'll see Basham use his hands quickly to take the edge against the offensive tackle. He leaves the offensive tackle stumbling and is able to get pressure and make his presence known. In the next play, I picked it because Basham uses his spin move well in it. He uses his spin move and gets around the offensive tackle, causing the quarterback to have to step up into the pocket. In the next play, Basham explodes out of his stance, which instantly puts him in a position of power against the offensive tackle, threatening the quarterback. That's something he does well, is explode out of his stance. The next play is simply a good read, where he correctly reads that the quarterback keeps the ball and chases him down for the sack. In this final play, Basham uses a good fake outside, then comes back inside to make the play. He falls off balance, but continues making a push and ends up making the play and causing a huge impact in the game. Alright everybody, we are on to the final part of the video, and that is the player comparison. I had a hard time finding a comparison for Basham, as he just isn't like many players in the NFL. The comp I'm going to end up going with is Washington Redskins outside linebacker Ryan Kerrigan. Now, it's not a perfect comparison, but it's the one I'm going with. I don't think Basham is as strong as Kerrigan, but the way he just always tries super hard reminds me a lot of Kerrigan. Alright everybody, that wraps us up this time. I hope you all enjoyed and learned something new. LB 3 Point Man, out.